Thank you, Steve, for that kind intro. Sterling did just walk in the building, so he's in meetings right now, and we'll see if how much he loves the media boys if he hangs around to do this after they finish up meetings. But appreciate you coming out today. So excited to get started. It's been an awesome summer from a just personal standpoint, good family time, and some fun trips. But this is what we've all been looking forward to: report date and getting started with preseason practice tomorrow. From a football standpoint, unbelievable summer that our team just had. I know every coach in America is probably standing up here in these press conferences talking about what a good summer his team had. Our guys were remarkable. The way they worked, the work ethic throughout the summer is probably the fewest number of just accountability issues that we've had since I've been here. We track everything. Do you get to the building on time, or you to weights on time? Are you handling your academic business? Or you're doing things right from a nutrition standpoint? And very, 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 very few issues like that from an accountability standpoint. And a big part of that, too, is our freshman class. I mean, a lot of times you worry about freshmen coming in and how well do they adjust, whether they got here in January or whether they got here at the end of May. And regardless of when they got here, our freshman class has been fantastic as far as what they've done as well to contribute to this team in a short period of time. And we're going to need a lot of them on the field this summer as well. But our guys got back here Memorial Day night, and we had a team meeting that night and started workouts the very next morning. And we've gotten better as a football team. There's no doubt in my mind this summer. Huge credit. They don't get enough credit, but to our strength and conditioning staff, Luke Day, Chip Morton, Nate Settergren, Mitch Oakey, Jameel Walker, who we've hired this past offseason, Will Mullins, Mike Persino, and Matt Akawa. I mean, they've been unbelievable what our strength and conditioning staff has done throughout the summer. We touched on it briefly, but a big part of the success that we've had this summer, or the gains we've made this summer, is because what we've done from a nutrition standpoint. And it was announced before, but we hired 2 new people to head up that department, and Yemi Rodriguez and Jen Goldstein, and their impact has been profound in a short period of time. Body composition of our players, the body fat of our players. It's remarkable just in their short time here what they've done. So a lot of the things that we've done from a strength and speed standpoint this summer is a direct reflection of what we've done from a nutrition standpoint. So huge shout out to them and the impact they've already made. We told our players we wanted to do things in nutrition better than they've ever been done before, and to think outside the box and do things better. And we certainly have as well. We got better as a team this summer. There's no doubt about it. We got stronger. We got faster. We had multiple players on our team who increased their max on the squat 100 pounds just from May to last week. And that's remarkable. The average squat on our team average person went up 50 pounds just on the squat over the summer. Bench press, the average gain was 24 pounds per player. We had 31 players this summer that hit new top speeds. We track everything, GPS monitors and all that in practice, and how fast they're running in practice and in workouts. So 31 of our players ran faster this summer than they've ever run at any time in their time as a Gamecock football athlete. And a lot of these guys that I'm talking about who have gotten stronger and faster are older guys. It's not just the young guys. So couldn't be more excited about what we've done this summer. Just told the team in a team meeting before I came down here, we got better this summer. There's no doubt about it. But now the key is going to be for us, we got to get better in August. And there needs to be great urgency within this on this team because of who we're opening up with and how quickly we got to get better. There should be great urgency to get as these freshmen that we have ready to play as quick as possible, because we're going to need them in game 1 as well. And from what I've seen since January and now throughout the summer, we're on the right track. But these next 4 weeks will be critical for us. Got meetings this afternoon, and then looking forward to our guys coming down. Just told the team in a team meeting, and we're not limiting who you can talk to and saying these guys are off limits. We got the whole team will be in here. So I'm eager for you guys to have a chance to see everyone. And I know you can't talk to everybody, but we got some fantastic young men and fantastic stories on this team. So excited for you to be able to visit with them. We'll finish up that and carry on with dinner and meetings tonight as a team, and then we'll hit the field tomorrow morning ready to roll. So couldn't be more excited about where we are as we stand here in early August, knowing that we have a lot of work to do. Couldn't be more excited about where we are as a program from a recruiting standpoint with what's still to come. Couldn't be more excited about the conference that we're in. And I don't take for granted being in the SEC. I mean, every time I look on the phone, there's a school at another conference that's begging to get out of the conference that they're in. And people making comments about they're leaving. They're just trying to figure out how and when. It's mind-boggling to me, but thank God that we are in a conference that is more solid than any conference in the country, in my opinion. A conference that other schools are trying to get into actively, whether it's privately or publicly. And don't take that for granted at all. Thankful for the leadership we have by Greg Sankey and being a part of the greatest conference in America. And we talk about it in recruiting all the time, the benefits of being in this league, and it's evident with what you see going on in the news this week with different schools and the instability in different conferences as well. So wish all those schools that we compete against well, or wish them well, but we're fortunate that we're in this conference and don't have to worry about a lot of the things that other schools are worried about in regards to their future. So with that, any questions?
Shane, position-wise, is there one glaring issue that you think is of this August?
Glaring issue about a certain position that we need to get solved? No, I think biggest, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but challenge, something we need to get done is certainly just we're going to have to rely on more freshmen earlier than any time that I can remember. And that's an exciting thing. These guys are really talented, but whereas before you may say, well, this guy may figure in a little bit on special teams, and maybe by game 4 or 5 he's contributing a little bit more on defense. This year, more than any other that I can remember, we're saying we know true freshmen are going to have to figure in right now in game 1. So that's exciting as a coach, and that's what I told the staff this morning. We got to do a great job of coaching and getting these guys ready to play in a short period of time. For sure. So that's, one thing. And then certainly we've talked about it, David, the depth at certain positions isn't what it needs to be. But it is what it is right now. And now we've just got to do a great job of making sure that we've got enough people that have the flexibility to play, in different spots and always put our best 11 on the field.
Coach, I know DQ Smith and Nick Nwori made impact for you a little bit last year on the field. How have you seen them grow both on and off the field?
Yeah, they've been really good. We met as a staff all yesterday afternoon and for about 2.5 hours this morning, where we just went through literally every single player on the team and broke down their summer and what they've had. And those are two guys that really had good summers, and got better. And as the summer went on, have grown in a leadership role for sure, and are two guys that were thrown into the fire early last season and got better as the year went on, but have shown no signs of slowing down and only getting better. Those are two guys that it's crazy. They're only going into the second year in our program, but, are leaders on this football team.
Is there anyone who comes to mind that won't be on the field tomorrow that for whatever reason?
No, we've got some guys that are everyone will be out there. Now we got some that are going to be limited, but there's nobody that's not going to be on the field for any reason other than they may be limited from an injury standpoint, but nobody really knew. Some guys that got some – it was a physical as could be, gnarly, nasty, grueling summer. So there's certainly – some things that flare up throughout the summer that guys may be a little bit limited as we go into preseason camp. Nothing that'll keep anybody out long term. So there'll be certainly some people limited, but nothing long term there where they wouldn't be ready for game 1, other than guys that we've previously already talked about.
Any reason for a gnarly and nasty summer? Is it any different than last year?
It was hopefully gnarlier and nastier. Every year you want what your team needs, and you want every year to, the summer to be tough, because that's when you come close as a team, and leadership shows and things like that as well. But It was gnarly and nasty because, one, it was needed just from a mental and physical. I mean, you see it, toughness over there is hang on the wall is a core value of this program. We needed to continue to create and instill that toughness. We needed to figure out, who can we count on and maybe who's not quite there yet. That's part of it. And then it's because it helped us get better as well. I mean, there were some really profound, deep, impactful moments that happened out there on that field in the summer, and where we got closer and more connected as a team because of it. But it was gnarly and nasty for all those reasons, plus the way they worked. It all led to us getting stronger and faster and more explosive. And now we got to continue to progress and get better on the football field here in practice these next few weeks.
You mentioned August needing to be better than it was last year. Do you point to anything specific for that? Is that a practice structure? Is that a build up to the season, or is it just everything needs to be better?
I think everything needs to be better. It goes back to when we came back in January. We met as a staff and talked about every area of our program, every department, find better ways of doing things and do things better than they've ever been done. So we never want to sit still, be complacent, or go backwards. So we're trying to be better each and every day. And in regards to August specifically, you always look back at notes and things from the previous year and how you can do things differently. And the schedule's very similar as far as how we're doing things. We've tweaked a few things, just looking back at the last 2 years. How can we be better from just a preparation standpoint and how we're practicing or the length of time that we're on the field? And you tweak things each and every year to try and be better. But no, I can't point to any one thing. I thought last year's August was good, and this year just needs to be better, just like tomorrow needs to be better than today.
Shane, I know we talked a lot about the running backs over the offseason, but just some of the, I guess, newer faces there with Mario and DJ. I guess, what have you kind of seen from them, at least so far? I know Mario was here spring, DJ just got here summer, but so far, what are you kind of seeing from those guys?
Yeah, I've been impressed. Mario, productive. We previously to come in here, had a good spring. Showed he's a guy that can certainly be in the mix for playing time. Key for Mario is just going to be continue to progress and be consistent day in, day out, but certainly has shown an ability. DJ, for a true freshman, excited about him. He's fast, probably faster than I even realized he was when we recruited him, to be honest with you. I mean, he was very productive, but he's had a good summer and hasn't practiced any, so obviously it's going to be learning the offense and all that. But he works at it and has a really good skill set as well. So been pleased with those two guys. We are going to go into preseason working Cam Sandlin, our signee at running back. Cam's a guy that did a little bit of everything in high school and has the ability to run the ball. And initially, we were going to start him out as a tight end, and he still may play, tight end in his time, but being a guy that can do a little bit of both as well, he'll be primarily a running back as we start practice tomorrow. So he's another young guy that we would throw in the mix. Excited to see, what he can do. He's one, to answer Hale's question, he'll be a little limited tomorrow, but as we go through the preseason, he'll continue to progress at that position.
Shane, there's a lot of players that you guys have been able to bring in over the last couple of years that fans naturally are excited to see. But before that, obviously, there were players part of the old regime that were already here. How important has their leadership been, especially, being seniors, 5th years, 6 years, in the development of creating the foundation of where you guys are heading into year 3?
Yeah, no, they've been awesome. The guys that were here, when I got here, I mean, they're the leaders of this team. I took 3 of them to Nashville with me for media day, or not Spencer because he wasn't here when I got here, but Tonka and Kai, obviously, and DK went with me last year to media day. So those guys have been fantastic. Older guys that came in, accepted us in year 1, and helped us do what we did in 2021, and then said, you know what, been through it a year with you guys, let's do it again. We believe in what you're doing. And then came back now for another year, a 3rd year as well. So they've been fantastic, impactful. They're great young men, first and foremost, and really good players, and they've been great leaders for us, and will be obviously are and will continue to be core core players and core leaders on this year's team.
It's obviously been a big week for you guys on the recruiting front. Just where are you feeling about the momentum of the 2024 class, and how do you sort of carry that into the start of preseason with the team you've got now?
Yeah, there's great excitement. Obviously, the news from this week, and then hopefully some news still to come as we go throughout the month of August. I like where we are. We've had a lot of really good players and people and families on our campus this year, but especially in June. Last weekend, we had a recruiting event on Friday evening in the stadium that was awesome with the amount of players that were here, and whether it be class of 24, class of 25, we had some class of 26 guys that were here last weekend as well. So that energy and excitement is very real and felt. Now we've just got to continue on. Obviously, we got off to a great start from a recruiting standpoint back in the winter, and then we're just continuing to build and add to it. It's a marathon, and it's a long time until signing day in December, but like where we are, and a lot that can still happen here as we go forward. But it's a great testament about what we're doing and what we've done with what we've done so far from a recruiting aspect of it, and then particularly the news this week as well, resonates with a lot of people.
Shane, I guess this is a pretty cool problem to have, but how hard is it going to be to duplicate or come close to the amazing success you guys had on special teams last year?
One of the things we talked about in our staff meeting this morning, Gene, was one thing that I'm excited about, or one thing that gives me optimism about this upcoming season, is you return your quarterback and you return all your key specialists. So we return our punter, we return our kicker, we return our long snapper, we return our short snapper, we return our kickoff returner. Now we got to replace Josh Vann, who was our primary punt returner, but we got some really capable players waiting to do that. So we've got the pieces in place, and we literally talked about it as a staff that, yes, we were lights out last year on special teams. And President Amarita is our president here, just came and spoke to the team, and that's one thing he talked about that he liked about last year's team was we won games with offense, we won games with defense, we won games with special teams, and he mentioned the Texas A&M specifically game with the kickoff return. So that'll be a key for us. Are we content and happy? Yeah, we did some great things, or do we say, there's a lot more that we can be better at? And there is. We did some great things on special teams, so we're going to need those guys to continue, those individual guys to continue to perform great. But then in all of our units, we've got to continue to be better, and we've lost some, key personnel in regards to covering kicks and things like that. Our gunners on the punt team, Darius Rush did a great job of that last year, and he'll be a big guy that we've got to figure out who are the outside guys when we punt. We call them the gunners that can get downfield and make tackles, but that's a big challenge, and it'll be a big key. I mean, we made some more impactful plays on special teams than probably anybody in the country last year, and it was a big reason we won 8 games, and we got to do it again and do it better.
Shane, I know you say every single position on your team is up for grabs, but as you go into camp, what are some spots that you're kind of looking at and saying we really need to find out the top 2 or 3 guys at this position?
Sorry, I was counting on you peeking out from around the corner back here as well, so kind of unnerving to see you right there. That's a great picture. Yeah, it's just awkward. You got me rattled. What was the question again? Sorry. Yeah, how the offensive line shakes out is one. What does it look like from left to right? We talked about it before. We've got guys that have played multiple positions. So when we line up against North Carolina in game 1, what does it look like at all 5 spots? But then also we're going to play more than 5 linemen. So who's 6, 7, and 8? Because we're going to rotate guys in there. To me, that's one position battle, starting-wise, and then just the rotation in general. I would say defensive end. Tyreek Johnson's had an awesome summer, and I'm excited to see Tyreek can be a really, really good player for us. He already is, but he can be a really impactful guy for us. I'm excited to see Tyreek to continue to progress. JT came in from Syracuse. What does he do? Jordan Strawn coming back off of his injury from last year, Terrell Dawkins, Desmond, Brian Thomas. There's a lot of guys there, and it'll definitely we'll rotate multiple guys. But when we line up in game one, who are the first 2 guys that go out there? That to me, that's one battle. We got a lot more depth at linebacker than we've ever had, with Debo and Stone and Mo Kaba coming back off his injury, and Pup and Bam Scott. That's a really fun group. So how that shakes out as well, and if you say that O'Donnell Fortune and Marcellus Dial are our 2 starting corners right now, who's the third guy, at the corner position? Because all of our guys in the secondary, just like the offensive line, those guys in the secondary, we want them to be able to play corner. We'd love for them to be able to play nickel. Then we'd love for them to be able to play both safety positions. And for the most part, they can. So who are our top guys there, is a question mark. And then the receiver rotation. We're not going to play the same 3 receivers the entire game. We're going to rotate guys in there to be able to keep them fresh. And if we're going to play 6 every game, which is basically what we did last year, we had a 6-man rotation. Who are those guys? And obviously Juice and Leggett and AB have played a lot of football, but who's the next group beyond them as well? So I really, I could go through every position, but those are the ones that, stand out, I would say, as we go into it.
You answered a question earlier about DQ and Nick, but I want to ask about Nick specifically.
Mm-hmm.
How big was he for your defense last year, and what kind of jump do you expect him to make here in year 2?
He was huge. I mean, one of the impact plays from last year was when he got thrown in the battle against Georgia State before anybody thought, and then he came up there and he made that tackle on, 4th down or something, I think. And I remember standing on the sideline like, oh, crap, like this that's a heck of a play for a freshman. And then the next week we go out to Arkansas and he's making a bunch of one-on-one solo tackles against their quarterback, and you realize, the moment's not too big for this kid. And then he just continued to get better and grow into that role throughout the season. So he was huge for us last year. And just for a freshman to be able, along with DQ, because you could say the same thing about DQ, for them to be able to do the multiple things that they did on defense last season, where Nick's playing safety, Nick's up there more near the line of scrimmage at certain times. DQ's playing nickel, DQ's playing safety, and that's not easy to do. So a credit to them and their intelligence and how hard they work at it. And then we'll need to continue for them to be those impact guys, both of them this season as well.
Shane, what are early impressions of Nick Harbor? Is he as fast as advertised? And along those same lines, obviously this week with the big news, it was reminiscent of when he signed and committed here too. I mean, how much of a maybe snowball effect or a ripple effect did it have him signing as far as on the recruiting trail?
Yeah, early impressions are first of all a fantastic young man, just unbelievable person. Keeps me on my toes because he's always critiquing my shoes or whatever I'm wearing. He's not afraid to speak what's on his mind and let you know. But he's awesome to be around. He's fast, obviously. It's not easy. I mean, the guy's running in races, and then all of a sudden we throw him into that gnarly, gruesome stuff that we were talking about outside. But he did a great job as a freshman. And he's on his way. And as I've talked about before, we just got to be smart about, he's a 18-year-old fresh out of high school, so let's understand there's going to be some growing pains. But he works at it and is very, very, very businesslike and professional in how he handles his business on and off the field. And then the impact that he made, absolutely. Because he announced when he did in February, a lot of people were watching when he made that announcement. So it resonated with people all over that this guy could have gone anywhere in the country and chose to come to the University of South Carolina. That's huge, along with an announcement this week. There was an announcement this week where I'm getting text messages from other recruits asking me, is this true? Is this real? And what an impact that made on them. So certainly, anytime you have success, I say it all the time, great players want to play with great players. And anytime you have a great player like a Nick Harbor or a Pup Howard or whoever else that people know from a high school recruiting standpoint, choose your school, it opens up a lot of eyes to other people.
Coach, you've made a big point of emphasis this offseason that you want to see this offense cut down the turnovers that they've had over the past couple of years, and obviously that starts with Spencer. And as a coach, how do you walk the fine line between keeping that a point of emphasis with Spencer, but also not to the point where he starts to maybe lose confidence and letting loose when he's out there on the field?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I told Spencer last year going into the Tennessee game, I guess, that, look, you can't go out there worried about making mistakes and just cut it loose and play free. And I'm not taking you out of the game if you throw an interception. Like, you're great when you're just playing free and having fun and being aggressive and cutting it loose. So we need him to continue to be that way. Bless you. Need him to continue to be that way without a doubt. But also being smart with protecting the ball. And we've broken down all the turnovers from last season, and some of it may be a poor decision by the quarterback. Some of it may be poor ball security when the quarterback's running. That happened against Missouri, was just carrying the ball poorly. So you can certainly harp on that as much as you want, how we're going to carry the football. But then also a lot of it, it's drops. It's an offensive lineman maybe missing a blitz pickup and turn a free rusher, a rusher free or whatnot. So you don't want to get in your head where you're talking about it so much and you – it's like paralysis by analysis. We're not trying to do that, making like a robot out there. But he and all of our guys, I mean, we're not going to go through a whole season without turning the ball over. Like, as much as I would like to, we're going to turn the ball over some. You want to minimize it and making sure that when you do, it's not because you're carrying the ball poorly and sloppy. It's, the defense just makes a great play. Like we've done that on defense a lot more than any SEC team the last 2 years. So that's going to happen, but let's make the other team earn it too when that does happen.
Shane, you've been very supportive of NIL and pushing it. As you see it getting bigger and the cars getting fancier, we saw the Instagram post of the Mercedes this week getting nicer. Do you worry about just the focus of guys? I guess, a couple of years ago, the popular thing was everyone would shut down their social media for the season. That's obviously their revenue stream now. How do you kind of hone it and as things get bigger and fancier and richer?
Yeah, we continue to just focus on the team, and we could go on and talk about that forever, but the success that I want guys to be able to have individually and the things that I want our guys to be able to earn off of their name, image, and likeness is really, at the end of the day, based on how well the team does. If we're 2-10 this year, there's not going to be as many people wanting to do and work with our players on different name, image, and likeness opportunities. So our guys know it's all about the team. It certainly is a challenge. It's different, but it's a different time, and you just learn and adapt, and you try and do as much as you can to build that team dynamic. And I tell our players all the time and coaches that every decision that I make as the head football coach is what's best for the University of South Carolina football team. There's no one individual that's more important than the team. And just keeping that right and keeping that straight. But opportunities for our guys, I want them to be able to capitalize on it as much as they can. That's why there's going to be 120 players or whatever we got on the roster right now down here meeting with you guys, because I want them to be able to, get in front of the camera and talk to people and be able to, showcase the awesome young men that we have in this program.
Thank you. What's the prognosis for this season for Jalen Nichols and the transfer offensive lineman that you took? Which ones would you expect to have maybe opportunity for immediate playing time?
Jalen Nichols, optimistic that we'd be able to get him backfill by the end of the season. He's moving around well and looks good and is in great spirits. And I think he would tell you the same, that his goal is to certainly be back, before the end of the year. And we're working hard towards that and optimistic that will happen, that he'd be back before the end of the season. And honestly, we're trying to get them all ready to play, of the new guys that came in. That would be Nick, that would be Jackson, and that would be Nye, if I'm not mistaken, 3 of them. Yeah, all 3 of those guys, we're going to try our best to get all 3 of them ready. Certainly Nick is going into practice number 1 tomorrow as a starter for us. He had a unbelievable spring, summer. I mean, he's a dude and our kind of guy. We knew that when we took him, and even more aware of it now. So Nick Gargiulo, certainly, but really with Jackson and Nye both. I mean, both those guys have shown that they are more than capable this summer in workouts, and they'll have every opportunity to earn a role, and we're going to do everything in our power to make that happen too.
You talked about the running backs room and DK. Just how great was it to have him back and work with him to bring some experience to that group, especially a guy who's been willing to give everything and play wherever was needed.
Yeah.
He's also got his daughter along. Have you offered any fatherly experience along to him?
No, we've had a lot of conversations, and if anything, just enjoy each and every day, because I know everybody says they grow up fast, but they grow up fast. I mean, it just seems like yesterday I was here as an assistant, and I had 2 little girls that age, and now they're getting ready. One's getting ready to go into high school, and one's getting ready to go into 8th grade, which blows my mind. But DK is fantastic. He is everything that you want in a student athlete at the University of South Carolina or anywhere, and he is if not the leader of this football team, and there's no doubt that we need him on this football team. He is a great young man, heck of a football player, super unselfish, and really excited to see him in this new role this upcoming season. He's worked his butt off. He's had a great summer, and his leadership and his ability on the field is immeasurable.